That's right. Duke Nukem is finally back after 12 years of delayed development. The question you're asking is it good? Well, almost every aspect has its ups and downs, and it'll take a little while to explain. You may actually be asking if you should buy it, but I'll get to that later. In fact, I'll get to both of them later. For now, let's just take a seat and head down to the Duke Cave so we can get this started. Duke Nukem Forever is rated mature for the following: blood and gore, intense violence, mature humor, nudity, strong language, strong sexual content, and the use of drugs and alcohol. Now, I know what you must be thinking. This is a game for my children. Fuck you, Bill O'Reilly. In all seriousness, Duke Nukem tries his hardest to set a good example. But when the aliens are stealing all of our chicks, and the king has to step away from his throne once again, you'd better be sure Duke ain't having none of that shit. In this video that I made for educational purposes. Alright, so I'm just gonna get right down to it. The one point of contention that everybody's torn on is the fact that Duke Nukem Forever is a radically different game than Duke Nukem 3D, its very successful predecessor. I think the problem that most people have with it is that it just doesn't live up to their expectations. They waited 12 years, and when the game came out, it either wasn't what they wanted it to be, or it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and now they hate it. And I'll be honest, this game was not worth waiting 12 years for. But it's here now, so we just gotta deal with what we've got. And here's essentially what we've got. We've got a good, not perfect, not great, but good first-person shooter with an iconic character every man, to some degree, wants to be, bogged down by gimmicky minigames, bad graphics, and an incredible overuse of puns and pop culture references. Now, I don't have a huge problem with puns and references because Duke Nukem has made them a major part of his speech since, I don't know, forever? Ha ha ha. Making puns and references is generally 100% expected with any Duke Nukem game. It's meant to support the badassery and sometimes make us laugh. We gun down pig cops, ha ha ha, to the point that their limbs explode from their bodies, and then Duke says, something that we recognize from our world, and we smile because we're like, hey, I get it. And while they really tried to make them good, I thought it was just too much. There was sensory overload, and some of it just wasn't funny at all. I stopped smiling around this point. For the record, this is the first combat level in the entire game. But this isn't game-breaking material. What is game-breaking is the rockin' minigames. If there's anything good you can say about these, it's that they're straightforward and they're not particularly hard to complete. It is really difficult to get stuck on it for more than 2 minutes and not figure out what you're supposed to be doing. However, it is really difficult to get the whole minigame done quickly. Now, see, here's one of the major points that the game breaks away from the standard that its predecessor set. On average, you'll spend about an hour, a little more, a little less maybe, being shrunk and completing puzzles trying to get back to full size in the average campaign run. For contrast, let's take a look back at Duke Nukem 3D. Most of the minigames like this were trying to figure out a 3-button combination, or finding the path to take in a mini-maze before the 10-second timer ran out and you exploded. It was a first-person shooter, and it catered to the person wanting to shoot pigs with shotguns, by allowing them to shoot tons of pigs with lots of shotguns. Instead, in the 12-year-later sequel, we have to spend great deals of time being shrunk and run around trying to avoid getting stepped on. Yeah, sometimes you get to engage in a mini-fight, but you're still shooting tiny bullets at tiny targets. Duke is big, loud, and kills all alien scum. Being small and helpless for so long is just out of his character. And yeah, you can say that not all the minigames involve being mini-sized, but really, I'm not exactly kicking aliens in the face here. As far as the normal, non-minigame gameplay is concerned, it's your normal shooter. That is to say, you pull the trigger and the men's fall down shooter, with a few upsides and downsides. On one hand, you've got the ability to execute the aliens you fight. You can punch them into little pieces, and you can mow them down with mounted turrets. On the other hand, a sizable chunk of weapons and items from the previous game was removed. The pacing is predictable at times, and the difficulty levels for different areas are way out of tune. Now, what can I say about the upsides? Kicking aliens in the face is awesome. Punching aliens into little pieces is both dangerous and awesome. Mowing things down with a turret is alright. I would have liked it better if Duke had been able to rip them off the hinges and take them with him. But, okay. I'll take what I can get. Really, these things are just straightforward, and there's not a whole lot to say about them, other than that they're good. On the other hand, I really do miss things like the expander ray, the all-powerful boot, and the jetpacks in the campaign. But, like I said, Duke Nukem Forever is a radically different game. With the new control layout, they said they couldn't figure out a good way to make it work.
Green power armor over here and ready to go.
Power armor is for pussies.
Well, okay. You want a gun instead?
Now, the pacing and the out-of-tune difficulty levels really both go into the same explanation. At this point in my gaming experience, I can really point out exactly what an arena looks like, and exactly what a shooting gallery looks like, and so forth. And this game has all of those. Almost every major battle is either a boss, or elite alien, or an arena you enter where waves of mobs rush at you into your bullet streams. There's a lot of fighting that isn't major, but, that's the bulk of major engagements is one of those two. You're either in the middle of the room shooting wave after wave until something happens to break down a door, or you're fighting a boss. The bosses, however, I did like. They had no sense of pacing at all. They just threw it out the window, and you thought, oh well, they just finished an arena sequence, so I guess it's boss time now, and the boss leaps into the fray. The bosses move quickly, and you have to get into a pattern fast to bring them down. The new mechanic for bosses, though, I don't entirely agree with. It's basically nothing can hurt a boss except for turrets or explosives. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I have all these guns. What do I do with all these guns? I can't hold all these guns. However, when you figure out the pattern, almost all the bosses are easy to bring down if you don't mess it up. And the rhythms are simple, such as run away around this rock, or sidestep into eternity while firing your own guns, because that way you can never get hit by anything. However, some of the bosses are stupidly difficult out of the blue. You can only kill them with explosives, and they summon constant help that catches those explosives and throws them back at your face. And you can't dodge their attacks because they target where you'll be before you get there. Oh, and the only cover you get gets blown up halfway through the fight. And then there's water levels. Fuck water levels. As far as multiplayer, it's not going to win any awards. It's not even that competitive, as the host sets all the rules and when they leave the game ends. But I will say that the My Digs feature is a favorite. I can't see it happening in many other games, but leveling up in multiplayer and getting rewards that you can run around and enjoy in your own mansion-esque high-rise is somehow really, really enjoyable. On the other hand, they took out co-op in the campaign, which really tore it down several rating points on its own. Yeah, different level design, different game, but I was so intent on beating it with friends on insane difficulty, and now I cannot. Overall, I really did like the game. Partly because it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was. Partly because I'm a Nukem fan at heart, and partly because I like gratuitous amounts of virus-free nudity. See example, Titty City. The story was enjoyable. The gameplay was fun besides the minigames, and it's something I'll very likely be playing again. However, alone I will be, without any co-op options available. Is it worth buying? Unless you're a die-hard Duke Nukem fan, not right now. Wait a month or two and buy it when the price goes down. I would have regretted spending $60 on a $35 to $40 value game, except it was Duke Nukem, and I really had to play it. Overall, I give it a 6.5 or a 7. I'm not really sure. It's in that zone. Do with that what you will. Take it with a grain of salt. And for the other guys at Landfish GTV who are going to watch this review, yes, I did say salt. This was Rage. Please leave a comment, discuss it, video response, thumbs up, anything you want to do, I appreciate. Subscribes are nice too, because I'm not the only one that appreciates those. Alright, that's it. See you guys later.
What about the game, Duke? Was it any good?
Yeah, but after 12 fucking years, it should be.
Well, Anytime you want to play again, just let us know.
Gentlemen, lock and load.
Like what you saw?
Want to see more?
Visit Landfish DTV.
For commentary, news, reviews, and, more.
Yes. More is good.
There are still no reports of any activity from the alien ships. In his speech on Thursday, the president said he remains cautious but optimistic regarding the recent alien visitation. He urged all citizens to avoid taking any actions that may seem aggressive, such as discharging firearms or making lewd gestures in the vicinity of the ships. On a related note, Giddy Flora's flower shop has filed the first...
I don't know.
related to the
It all
alien
still sounds
invasion.
pretty scary.
To sue the
I can see the ships from here. I wonder if it's the same aliens you had to fight 12 years ago. Of course they are, silly. Why do you think they came back? It's because Duke lives here, hello. But you'll protect everyone if the president is wrong about them, won't you, Duke?
Sit down and shut up.